jack things up a little bit. And then there's this great run. But at some point, did you run into a place where you felt like, it was time to move on?
Yeah, what was happening is we got spoiled. And it was a really interesting situation, pretty much coming into around 1996. And I didn't think that we were making good enough records. And that's not really a smart thing for somebody to say to a Tony Brown or some of the other great producers of the time, but our culture and promotion was always challenging ourselves to do better. And I was challenging our whole building to do better. I wasn't the boss, and they didn't want me challenging them anymore, so I got fired in March of 1997. And it was a tough time because I felt like I'd given everything I had. We were extraordinarily successful. I'd become very close with Reba and Vince and the other artists, and I didn't realize, because nobody really took me aside, because we were just on fire, and I thought we were staying between the lines. But it was a situation where, I had stepped over the line, and I did it really without knowing. And it was a situation where, after I left, they didn't do very well, and that didn't hurt my feelings one bit. And I couldn't wait to get our next thing started, and that was DreamWorks. And we went in and kicked their butt, and it was a lot of fun. So,
DreamWorks is another interesting because it is a startup. So here's another situation where you're at a label, or a situation where you're at a label that's starting from nothing and getting going, which you later did yourself. So talk about that experience and what that was.
Yeah, absolutely. After MCA, it gave me an opportunity to step back, really observe what was going on, get my own personal life in better balance, and decide how we wanted to do it the next time. And then the day after I was fired, it was also at a time when Giant Records was closing down. So James Stroud literally called me the next day and said, "Hey, I've got 2 opportunities, and I want you to do one of these with me. We can either go to Sony or to DreamWorks." And that's right when DreamWorks and Lyric Street were opening up. And I said, if we have the opportunity to work with Mo Austin, who's always been one of my idols at Warner Brothers, and he was heading DreamWorks, and David Geffen, I said I would be really interested in doing that. And so in no time at all, we had those wheels in motion. And when I look back to starting MTM, to starting my own business, here was the next startup, and I've never been afraid of startups. And so, all of that experience absolutely kicked in, and we came out smoking. We re-signed Randy Travis. We had this great single called Out of My Bones, and we had a mission, and we were going to take our first single to #1, and we did. And it was a great way to kick off the label, and we went on to sign Toby Keith and took him to the next level, and had great success with Daryl Worley and Jessica Andrews. Hey T, how you doing, bud? And it was really a great experience. So we're rocking, and a couple of my crew that are with me now were with us at DreamWorks. And a big part of Big Machine in the beginning especially came from some of our days at DreamWorks, because we got to a point where Toby was really rocking, and we were having great success with Daryl Worley and Jessica and Jimmy Wayne, Emerson Drive. And it got to a point where if we're going to compete with RCA and MCA, we need a second imprint. And so that got me thinking, and I started writing this business model. Well, what was happening at DreamWorks at the time is, quickly as we could make $1 here, they were losing 2 in LA. So that second label never came into being, but it got my fires lit.